Hey everyone, it's Jillian back to you with another vlog. So, yes, baby's not here yet, but he will be here super soon. And unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, we don't know yet. He is stubborn just like mommy and daddy. So, he is breech. His head is right here. I'm actually touching it right now. And I am already 39 weeks pregnant. A few weeks ago, my doctor deemed me a breech birth, and we were going over our options for what to expect and stuff like that. But I just want to be really transparent with you guys and talk to you about my experience with learning more about a breech birth and what to expect when you have a breech baby. I just wanted to share my heart with you guys. I feel like you guys already know a lot about me, a lot about my husband, about our journey in getting here, getting this far. I just wanted to let you in on how I've been feeling in terms of finding out that baby West is just as stubborn as mommy and doesn't want to turn, and what that means for us. So ever since we found out we were pregnant and we were expecting, C-section was not something on our radar. It was something that I would read about and I would quickly skim up because I didn't want to hear it, I didn't want to see it, I didn't want to be informed about it. I've heard other people who've had C-sections and I've heard some of their experiences, but to be honest, I didn't want to hear more. I didn't want to be exposed to finding out more about C-sections because I had already said to myself that this was not going to happen. It was not for me. This is not possible. I'm not going to let this happen. Or God's not going to let this happen to me and things like that. And so for me, it was out of sight, out of mind. I was already in denial about something that we didn't even know much about in the very beginning. And I want to say it was maybe around week 35 or 36 where I learned from my obstetrician that baby was head up. And of course, he still has a lot of time to turn, but that we just need to be, aware of that. And we didn't hear too much about our options in the very beginning. And I'll get into my obstetrician in another vlog because that is a whole story in itself. In fact, I could write a book. But eventually, I see my doctor on a bi-weekly basis and then a weekly basis, and baby is still head up. Supposedly he was in the frank breech position where he's almost like in a cannonball position where his knees are tucked into his chest and his butt is downward. And I do know that it is possible, I'm not saying it's not dangerous, but I know it's possible to vaginally give birth to breech babies. I do not know if they do that in the state of New York, but I do follow somebody, I think it's called Gentle Birth, on Instagram, where that is done, or it's captured, like it's whoever this photographer is, whoever this midwife is, wants to make it known to her audiences that it is possible, that C-sections aren't the only way to give birth to a breeched baby. But here in New York, or at least my doctor, my office, my hospital, that's not even an option. So I already knew, and I already made that assumption in my head that if this baby was not going to turn, it was going to mean that I was going to have a C-section. So it was only then, which was maybe around week 36 or 37, where I started to realize, like, okay, this could really be my reality right now. And so I'm gonna have to just embrace it. I'm gonna have to get a little bit more educated about it, because that's the type of person that I am. I want to know what to expect as best as I could. And if I don't know, or I feel like I'm uninformed, I get anxious about it and I get stressed about it. So, I started to do more research, and my husband and I we were talking about it actively. We were making sure that we were not trying to deny that this could really be something that we experience as a couple. And, we have a group of friends that we told, and at first it was something that I didn't want to share because I was a little ashamed that you know, this could be something that I was going through, but it's a really real thing, and it's not something to be ashamed about. And some women go through it willingly, where they schedule them, and some women have to go through it because it's an emergency procedure. And in my situation, I'm not necessarily willing, I'm not scheduling it for myself, but because the baby hasn't turned, this is my only option, as opposed to trying to give birth vaginally and then them rushing me into the OR. So I'm kind of like in the middle between a planned C-section and an emergency. But I am grateful for one thing, and that's that it's not going to be an emergency C-section. I believe that, and I pray that with my whole heart, that I'm not going to have to get rushed in to remove the baby that way, as opposed to just being prepared that if the baby doesn't turn, that this is the date that they set, which I'm entrusting in the doctors is the right date, for them to, you know, do the procedure and remove him. It's something that I'm still nervous about. I cannot front and just lie and be like, oh, I can't wait. But you know, it's something that I'm a little bit apprehensive about. But I think I'm more excited, especially now that I've gotten further into my pregnancy and I'm kind of over it, where I just want to see his face already. I just want to hold him. I just want to heal already and get through that, you know, those beginning weeks of feeling like you know, you gotta get used to my body, and my body has to kind of put itself back together kind of thing. So I kind of just want to get over that hump already, and I just want to see him, even if that means that I have to have a C-section. And although it wasn't part of my plan, and although me and a lot of my friends got together and we prayed that the baby would turn and stuff like that, I got comfortable with the idea of changing my prayer so that God would just have his way, you know. At first I was praying, God, turn this baby, turn this baby. I don't want to have a C-section. I pray against a C-section. But then I changed my prayer to that. One, I pray that the baby's safe and that he's healthy and that he's well, and I pray the same thing for me, and that if this is what you want, then I'm okay with it. And I had to shift my focus on that because it was all about me and me and me and me, you know, not wanting a scar, you know, and all those other things that I was freaking out about because of my lack of knowledge about it. But you know, I realized that I was being selfish in my prayer. And what if, you know, this is what God wants for me? He wants me to give birth in this way so that I could be able to tell those that are freaking out about C-sections that it's something that, you know, it might not be your ideal way of giving birth. It wasn't mine. But if you trust God, then however you give birth is going to be an amazing situation. It's going to be an amazing experience. And at the end of the day, you're going to have the cutest bundle of joy that you get to take home with you. And that to me is more important than how I give birth and the way that they see fit to deliver this baby. And so I really hope that that encourages you to know that you just have to be flexible. And that's something that I didn't think I would need to apply to my own life when people were telling me that. And I remember on Instagram I was asking women or mothers who had birthing plans, and most of the women said they didn't. And I was a little bit taken aback, and I was like, but why? Like, I'm a very prepared, structured type of person, and so in my head I needed to have a birthing plan, and I had one. This is actually probably the easiest birthing plan. You can find the template on Google. And the thing is that, like, I'm looking at it and all this kind of goes out the window because I'm having a C-section. No medication, that ain't gonna happen. Intermittent monitoring, that's probably not gonna happen either. Limited cervical exams, that's probably the only thing that's gonna happen, because if they're cutting me open, they're probably not going to be doing that many internal exams. No episiotomy. Okay, that makes sense because he's not coming out that way anyway. Immediate skin to skin, that's something that also might have to wait a little bit because of just how a C-section procedure goes. Yeah, there's a few things on here that are just not gonna work. So you gotta be okay with it. You gotta be flexible, and that's something that I had to learn really quickly. And it's okay. It is okay. I know everything is gonna be fine, and so I'm okay with the fact that I just threw my birthing plan out the window. Because at the end of the day, my birthing plan is in God's hands. And this baby and me and my husband and our delivery and my labor experience and the hospital and the people that are going to be taking care of me are all part of God's plan for us. And so I just need to rely on that. And I really hope that this encourages you to know that whether you're pregnant, whether you're expecting, whether you want to get pregnant, whether you've been pregnant, whether you don't want kids at all, to know that if life doesn't go the way that you want it to go or are demanding it to go, it's okay. God has a plan, and that plan is way better than our plan for ourselves anyway. Flexibility is your friend. I'm not saying not to have structure. I'm not saying not to plan ahead. I'm not saying not to do research and just to go about life flippantly. But it's also good to be reminded you want to be flexible so that, you know, when you have news like the news I experienced, which was you're most likely going to have a C-section, it doesn't tear your world in half. It doesn't break your heart. It doesn't give you anxiety where you have a panic attack and then it stresses out the baby. That's not something that you want either. So just remember and just trust the process. Trust God. Trust that everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to work out, and that at the end of the day, you're going to have an amazing testimony and be like, you know what? I thought it was going to go like this, but it went like this, and this way was actually better than I had expected and that I had anticipated. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please like, comment, and subscribe. This baby is going to be here any minute now. And I'm just super excited to have you guys here on this journey with me.